within a certain distance. Certainly, they could not even determine why there's 1,000 feet separation from a school. It wouldn't be because you could see the bodies, because they could be screened. You would tend to believe that it's back to a safety issue. Some states that we saw had a mandated 500 feet. So you have 1,000 feet, 500 feet. We were erring on the side of going low on the safety issue. But again, we're not making this decision only on the safety issue, because we could put a machine shop in the middle of downtown. It could be done totally safely and quietly. We could insulate it and soundproof it, but it would not fit the district because of a lot of other compatibility and land use considerations. And so we have to keep thinking in that mindset as well. We can't just say, well, unless we can prove that it's going to hurt somebody within 5 years or 10 years, that we got to permit it. We really need to think in a broader terms.
To me, my great concern about cremation is that it be done with a high level of dignity for the person in reverence of what we're doing and for the comfort of the families. And I guess I have to do some mental thinking, some searching of my heart and soul. Is it raise the level of dignity to have someone creating or cremating pets in the same place where I might be cremated? I just have to...
I think that's a no-no, Joe.
Yeah, I just have to adjust to that thinking.
They're done separate.
So that's a no-no, not permitted.
Then that's something we won't even consider. Like, we're not going to open up a different pet. Crematory pets are not even on the radar at all.
If I could add also, about 3 weeks ago there was a crematory application sent to Michigan EPA, and it was turned down because the cremator would not meet the air quality standards. It's not one of ours. It's not a machine.
On that subject, I found absolutely no record that there are any EPA regulations on crematoriums. There were, and then the industry pushed back, and then now there are no regulations from the EPA. They come from the state. And the state would not even share with me what they would even look at in terms of determining safety.
I can provide a permit from Bardstown. I have a copy of it if you want to see.
Okay, I'm sure that's the staff. Ann, what can you add,
I think if you're looking at this globally, again, I think we're kind of
getting off
more
fast, aren't we?
Whether their particular so the way it's set up, as you can see, there's they're both set up for special use permits within the two industrial districts. Okay, so you've got that framework, and John made a very good point about compatibility with the other uses in the district and where does it fit. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's the kind of decisions you're making today, and what sort of things will you want to look at once an application comes in? And I do want to note that it says the crematorium has to at all times comply with local, state, and federal law, ordinance, and regulation. So as part of your ordinance, whatever the standards are at the time, they're going to have to comply and show compliance. It also has a general statement that the Planning Commission can consider different additional standards. That's appropriate at the time when you're looking at a particular application that comes in as a special use permit. So you've got the mechanisms in place as a global perspective. By adopting this ordinance, you would have the mechanisms in place to consider the safety issues with respect to a particular application in a parcel when it came in. So again, I hate to keep going back to the same, but we want to focus on, we're not considering whether their particular location is good, whether their proposed facility is safe, whether it meets EPA standards, whether it's clean, whether it's good technology, whether it's environmentally friendly. I mean, that's something you would consider under your terms of your ordinance once this is adopted and if a special use application comes in front of you. But right now, what you're doing is placing the use in the appropriate district that you determine is appropriate, and adding special use consideration requirements to your zoning ordinance so that you can make those determinations when the special use permit comes in front of you.
And I think that we need to remember that we did task a special work group to work on this project with our legal team and staff. And so I think that we need to remember that we tasked those folks, and I can't even remember who it was now, I apologize, but to take a look at our zoning and where they believe that it belonged within our current zoning mechanism.
John, I have a question in section 4, number 4, it's in B, subsection, I guess it would be, that one. That sentence doesn't, I can't read it right for some reason.
You're right.
Can you clarify that for me? Section 4, number 4.
Being shouldn't be in there.
That being should be, I've got it circled.
Yeah, when we looked at this, well, I originally was looking at it, thinking about crematoriums as a primary use and crematoriums as an accessory use. The thought originally was that crematoriums as a primary use could accept clients from multiple funeral homes.
Well, that wasn't my question. My question is, does the word being need to be in there?
Well, that's what I'm referring to. It probably doesn't need to be there.
Okay.
If you look, that crematoriums as a primary use would be able to accept bodies from multiple funeral homes. And then we removed the section about accessory because right now it's not legally permissible. If we were going to leave it in, it was going to be still written in a way that it couldn't be done right now anyway. It was going to be only upon such time as the state might permit it, which right now it's not. So I think the city attorney felt it was just confusing the issue to put something in that wasn't even doable at this point in time, thinking that we probably could change it at a later date. And personally, I think in the future will, at some point, and I don't know when that'll be, see that it's an appropriate accessory use. But you got to remember, when that happens, it might also change the districts that a funeral home might be permitted in. Right now, it might be permitted in a great number of districts. Once you allow a crematorium to be commonplace as accessory, it might reduce the amount of districts that a funeral home could even be located in. So that's another byproduct of a potential change in the law, that you might see that even funeral homes themselves are not permitted in a number of districts just because of the if the accessory crematorium becomes legal at some point in time.
Right. And I think we need to remember the fact too that we're supporting it coming to the city of Cadillac, but we're trying to put it where it.
My question was just the word that's in here that I didn't...
No, I'm not talking to you. I agree with you on that sentence. I'm going back to, okay, we're supportive of absolutely, cremation is becoming more of a norm than burial. So I absolutely believe that it's something that we need in the city of Cadillac, and it's our job to decide, because if we get it in the city of Cadillac, we've made it more convenient and closer to home. But our job is to decide where does that belong.
Yeah, that word being just needs to be stricken.
Okay, that was my question.
I wasn't even focusing on the word being, so.
But once you
I wasn't focusing on that
strike it, what it says refers back to that concept of taking multiple clients from multiple locations, or just the clients of your own funeral home.
Yes.
I think that's a good point, because a few years ago in northern Alabama, a funeral or cremation situation got carried away where the bodies were brought in and stored outside behind the building and for long periods of time. And this is not a good thing.
No.
Okay.
I'm good at this point.
Okay. I am too.
Okay. So entertain a motion to council if somebody's good with that. Council will still have a public hearing, correct?
That's correct.
Are they going to? I'd have to look at that. I don't know if they need to have a public hearing on this.
I think that's what we've been doing.
That is what you've been doing? Okay.
I think so.
Okay.
I make a motion, we send this ordinance up to the city council as is, with crossing out that one word and, oh, go ahead.
Can I just have a friendly, that you would recommend adoption? I just want to make sure, instead of sending it up, that you recommend that they adopt it.
Okay, we recommend that they adopt this
No
ordinance.
passing the buck, John.
Yeah.
As is.
Do we have a second on that?
I'll second.
Peterson.
Okay. Champlin. Filkins.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Gregg.
Yes.
Schichtel.
Yes.
Fent. Smith.
Yes.
Putman.
Yes. Okay. Goes on to council. Since this is going up to council, will there be additional verbiage for the public then? I mean, I know you did it for here too, but I guess I would have liked a little more response from the public on this, but
I think that it would be a notice similar to this notice, just a general text amendment, because it's not about,
right.
where would you draw who would you send the 300 feet to, because it's of a general applicability.
You got lots of circles.
Okay. So I would expect something very similar.
Okay. Thank you. Where are we? Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Found out tonight that I got to go to one of those over in Ludington on Wednesday.
New business there being none, old business there being none. Apparently there was no communications as per staff saying.
Right.
Any other public comments this evening? And any other business is a no. And I don't know why you eliminate our board member comments. Go. Any board member comments there? I just added.
I have a comment.
Yes, sir.
When we discussed Cadillac Junction, they talked about lighting and safety. And when we came in here tonight, when we walked out of here that night, we walk out into a dark parking lot. We came in tonight, all the parking lot lights were on. When we go out tonight, they'll all be off. We'll walk out into a black parking lot. And I'm just wondering why, when they have meetings here, why they don't light the parking lot all the time in the first place, I guess. And I guess
I've made that same complaint.
especially in the winter.
Observation.
I think it's been a cause. I think it's been a cause.
Icy, it seems really,
Yeah.
It's a cost, but if there's meetings scheduled,
Set the timer different, yeah.
could they set the timer different on meeting days?
I'm sure something could be done.
Turn the
I
switch
don't
off
know
when
if
you
it's
leave.
set on a. I don't know if it's set on a electronic eye that senses daylight.
Uh-huh.
I mean, the option would be to put it on timers that you set by time and not by sensor.
Or an override that you can take care of.
Yeah, right.
yeah.
Right. No, but I agree. I don't like going out and total darkness either.
Yeah. I have another question, and I don't know if this is the appropriate spot, but I was asked it today at a ribbon cutting out at the CWTA. The CWTA had a ribbon cutting because they're expanding their hours of service, which is wonderful for our community and for the people who work like second shift at factories.
Come out of the bar, too.
And that was where I was going. The question to me was, if somebody has to call the CWTA bus, summer hours it wouldn't matter, but in the winter, if they had to leave their car, the question is, and I'm just thinking about Clam Lake, right? So if they had to leave their car, do we have a designated space in the city, like the city lot or wherever, that their car could be taken, that it wouldn't be towed?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Well, that's why I'm asking the question.
And who's going to take it if they can't?
Well, I'm just thinking, well, the Clam is usually pretty good about...
But if you leave it and you come back to get it the following day and now it's gone.
I mean, we're going to want to be able to have our plows get through and get the streets clean, but can we have a designated lot where their car could be taken to make certain they wouldn't get ticketed?
Well,
We're trying to do the right thing.
I think we could certainly have it towed to a designated overnight parking permit.
Well, I don't want them to have a tow bill. I don't want it towed.
Then they could drive the car for them to the lot, and then they'd be
Right,
safe for the night.
if a friend or somebody from the establishment could move the car for them.
So it's a working car and they want to leave it where it
Because
can put it.
they drank too much, they can't drive, so they're doing the right thing, and they're going to take the CWTA.
It seems like the easiest solution would be to take it to one of the legal overnight parking spots, and then if the city wanted to assess a standard nightly fee or whatever it is that the people are paying for that, that would be much less than the tow bill or the impound fee.
Yeah. Well, I was just wondering if there was a way...
Those lots are where?
Well, we have a nice, beautiful new map of where those locations are.
Well, I'm just wondering if we can communicate that to people, because now we're getting close to the winter months. They've got a new avenue, they've got the CWTA buses they could utilize, and the establishments are really good about driving people home, but can we as a city designate a space for them to leave their vehicles?
But we'd have to have, I just made policy up here on the fly.
Well, I wasn't asking you to do that, I was just generating...
We would have to have council say that was the right way to handle it. I mean, I think it's a very practical solution.
Then I think that if that's how we need to do it, that we should have that discussion.
Okay.
I mean, we want this space, we want this downtown area to be utilized, and we want to keep people safe, so what can we do as a city to help?
Right.
I will get with Marcus.
Without penalty.
And see if he can put that on the council
Or down here with a
agenda.
note or something from the establishment, we'd drop this car off.
Exactly. The establishment would have a ticket and say, you know...
We don't want to be punitive. You know,
Exactly.
we want to be hospitable, and
Be
we certainly don't want
proactive
people...
in how can we help out.
Right. We don't
we
want
to keep people safe.
driving after they were drinking.
Right.
Could I have a public comment to that?
Sure, you have to come up. Listen to me.
Last winter, I live on East Chapin Street where there's the hill, the one block where it's quite a little hill. I have to go up the alley and park in the back of my house. One day when we had a really bad storm, it was sleet all morning and then snow all afternoon. I could not get up the alley. And I have to back in so I can pull out. If I pull straight in, then I'm not going to be able to back out, because then I go down into my yard. So anyway, I parked out in the street. I thought if I get a ticket, I'll pay the ticket, or I'll contest the ticket. If I have to pay the ticket, well, I got up the next morning, the car was gone. It had been towed. And I called and talked to the police chief about it. What am I supposed to do? You know, the city didn't plow the alley. I could not get up the alley. And so that was one of the things he had suggested, was maybe parking somewhere in town, public parking spot. And I said, well, where's that? So it would be nice if there's something designated. I mean, I still have to trudge home in a blizzard, you know, however many...
Or call the CWTA.
Pardon me?
Or call the CWTA.
Parking lot. He still needs to know which lot.
There are no...
So that's a general issue for people who live in town.
We can put that new map out on the website if that's helpful for people, and then if the council needs to change some of the policies.
Yeah. Just be a little proactive. So I promised I would ask that question, so.
Perfect.
No, it's a good one.
Received a call from people out Cadillac Junction Way wondering about the berm in the front. They don't think there's one. I hope that got brought. Staff was going to review it. Fine, perfect. That's my only comment. It may still be too early and not in place. I don't know.
The development agreement was revisited and the extension for the private landowners to have landscaping installed on their lot was changed with a new timing for the berm. Now for both, it's extended to June 1, and so the berm will go in by June 1, but the private property owners also have until June 1, and they could start today working with the developer to get the trees on their property to buffer light impact or whatever. But they can do it now, and they were given an extension on when they could do that. Right now it's a concern about, just the viability of the plant materials, that the approvals through MDOT for the road and so forth ran so late that it just became a problem.
Are there going to be any additional road improvements out there? Do you know?
Well, the road will be extended past the new site plan that was approved, and I think did council approve it already?
We did.
Okay, so yeah, now the road will be extended past that business.
Okay. That was a comment.
They're working with the department heads to solidify the final locations of where all the utility mains will be and where the hydrants will be.
Okay. Great. Any other board member comments at all? Even though I added it. Okay. Perfect. We're out. Thank you, everyone.